Hey guys, I want to make a quick video, well it probably won't be so quick, about how to properly mix your Athena nutrients for if you're doing any kind of crop planting in Coco core, or if you're doing, these instructions probably will also work for any type of hydroponic growing. Now, I'm using Athena, but these instructions will also work for really any other brand of fertilizer. I just like Athena. This is my first time really using their stuff, but they're known to be very clean and very low salt, so you don't deal with a lot of salt buildups later on. So the first thing you want to start out with is reverse osmosis water. If you can't make this, tap water is fine. I recommend using some type of water filter, but depending on where you live, tap water is probably just fine. We're gonna mix down the pH later, and the problem with tap water is you don't necessarily have control over things like calcium and magnesium and other elements that may be in that, so highly recommend use some type of water filter, but you don't have to. Then you want to use your fertilizers. In this case, this is actually a 3-part system, but you only use 2 parts in the beginning. So core and the grow, I'm going to be using a 50-50 of each of these. Then you need a few empty glasses or something nice and clean. So I use one just to keep full of fresh water, and another one for actually testing the nutrient mix. I only use this one for testing because my pH meter doesn't fit down inside of here. So I need to pour it into something else so I can test it. It's kind of a big boy. We're going to come to that in a second. Sometimes I use this one, depending on what I'm doing. I might just pour some clean water in here so I don't mess with this water while I'm cleaning something. Then you also need pH chemicals, pH down and up. Honestly, in most cases, you're not really going to be using the pH up. It's going to be mostly pH down. These chemicals are very powerful, and you can just do them by the drop. So that's why I put them in these. I bought empty eyedropper bottles from Amazon. It was like $8 for a pack of like 5 of them. And I put the fluids in there so you can just administer by the drop. It really takes per gallon, maybe 1 drop to reduce your pH by 0.1, which is a lot. So I also recommend using individual food syringes and label everything. To keep all your fertilizers separate, and make sure and clean them every time as well, so you don't get salt buildups in this, which can throw off your numbers later on. So these measure in mLs, okay? And then all you need other than that is a pH and EC meter. There's a million different models. You don't have to use this one. This is an Apera pH 60, I believe. And this one is pretty awesome, but it's $130. So, but really, anyone is fine as long as it's calibrated, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So that's basically everything that you'll need. And give me a second, let's switch scenes and we can get into how to do the actual mixing. Okay, now really quick before we continue, I just want to talk about the pH and EC meter. Now this one is an all-in-one. It does pH, EC, TDS, and temperature and salinity all in one meter, but a lot of times you'll have to get 2 separate meters to do these things. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2, it all works the same way. So if you cycle through the settings here, let me see if I can get that on the camera. See, so that one's TDS, that means total dissolved solids. I don't really go by TDS. EC is the better way to go. Okay, and that's salinity. That's not really relevant to this type of product. So, okay, so what we care about is pH, and also the other one that says COND, conductivity. That's with this meter, that's how they say EC, which is short for electrical conductivity. So we care about pH and EC. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to show you guys that before we move on, because I won't be able to show it closely when I switch the video around, so I can show the mixing part. Okay. One more thing I want to show you really quick is that these meters, a lot of EC meters, they read at the 1000 scale, but when you're looking up your feeding instructions for your plants, usually those instructions will say in the sort of 1.0 scale. So on this meter, if this reads 1000, that means your EC is 1.0. If it reads 900, that means your EC is 0.9, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna get a reading on my baseline water, and let's see. So my baseline RO, reading a little high today at about 75. Usually it's about 65. So that's like 0.06 or 0.006, or that's really, really low. Okay, so now for today's feeding, I need to get my plants up to 0.8 EC, so about 750 to 800 on this meter. So this is now reading 73.6. Okay, so now we're going to start adding the fertilizer. Okay, let's talk about how to actually do this fertilizer mix, because it's kind of a process and it's kind of a bit tedious. So I'm going to try and go as fast as possible. Okay, so again, got your gallon of mix. These instructions are the same if you want to do 1 gallon or if you want to do this in a 5-gallon bucket. The only difference is put it in a bucket and use a mixer stick instead of shaking it up manually. Okay, got your 2 halves of your fertilizer, clean glasses, 1 for the nutrient mix, 1 with RO water, some food syringes, pH down, and your pH tester. Okay, so we're going to start out with this in EC mode. All right, so first thing, now I already know that because I've been doing this for the last few days, I need about 6 milliliters of each of these to get to about 0.75 to 0.8 EC with my RO water. Now for you, you won't know this in the beginning, so you're gonna have to do trial and error. I recommend start small. Start with, well, first of all, find out if your fertilizers need 50-50 of each, or if it's 60-40, or 25-75, or whatever it is. Figure that out, and then start with, aim small, so aim for about 0.5 ECs at first. So try 3 ml of each or something like that, and then do your shake and test and grow from there. But for the sake of speeding up this video, I already know I need to do about 6 of each. So again, keep your syringes separate, keep everything nice and clean. So I'm going to do grow first. Oh yeah, always give these a nice little shake first. That's about 6. Dump it into your nutrient mix. Set that one down. Completely cover that one back up. Okay, oh, didn't shake this one. Did shake. Okay, once again. 6. Okay, 6. Dump it in. Set that aside. Go on and cover this one back. Okay. Close this up. Okay. So on this, I'm going to shake. Also going to do a little number like that. Take your mix, dump it into your nutrient test cup, or if you're doing this in a bucket, you can just stick the meter right in there. You don't need a separate cup. Okay. And turn the meter on, make sure this guy's in conductivity mode. Okay, so I'm gonna measure, and I already know, yeah, so I'm already pretty much right there. Maybe it overshot a little tiny bit, but so it says 814, 812, 813. So we're good, 0.81, 0.80. So I'm right on where I want to be, so I can stop right now. You might have to do more testing to dial it in. Now, as your plants get bigger, you're going to need to ramp up the fertilizer. So start small when the plants are young, and as they get bigger, they need more feed, so you ramp it up. And eventually, when you get through late veg, you want to ramp it up from 0.6 in early veg to 1.2 EC in late veg, and then as you get into flowering, you may want to slowly ramp that up all the way to 1.5 or 1.6. Anyway, so right now we're at 0.8, so this is perfect. Next thing we need to do is test the pH. So set the meter into pH mode. Now I already know from experience, my RO water mix plus the Athena fertilizers usually puts my final pH at about 6.3, sometimes 6.4. Let's see. And yeah, so right now I'm at 6.49, 6.5. It's actually a little high. A little high for me from normal, but that's okay. We're gonna mix it down. Okay, so it's the same word, about 6.5. So I know it's about, with this stuff, it's about 1 drop per 0.1. So I want to get down to 5.8. 5.8 is your target. So anywhere from 5.6 to 5.9 is good, but 5.8 is really the sweet spot. Okay, so I know I want to do, let's say 6 drops to go from 6.4 to 5.8. That should get me pretty close. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now don't forget to pour this stuff back in. Give it another good shake. Now, as opposed to EC, which you can measure immediately, pH takes about 30 seconds or so to stabilize. So once we shake this up, we need to let it sit for 15 to 30 seconds before we really measure it. So a good shake. Okay. So let that sit. In the meantime, I'm gonna give my EC a good rinse. That's why I use this little shot glass, so I can rinse this thing off in here without messing up the rest of the clean water. And by the time I'm done doing this, the pH should be ready, so it should be stabilized. Okay. All right, so pH, okay, and let's go. See, so it's dropping 6.1, 6.0. Yeah, I only got to about 6.0 this time. So we need to go a little bit further. We need to add maybe, let's do 2 more drops. This would definitely be a lot easier than something with a bigger mouth, because I wouldn't have to keep pouring it back and forth like that. But for now, this is what I got. Okay. Let that sit a few seconds. Let's see, 10, 9, 8. Okay, that should be enough. There we go. pH is, I'm now down to 5.9, and I'm going to stay there. So I'm not going to risk putting any more. I don't want to overshoot. So 5.9 is good. I prefer 5.8, but we'll stick with 5.9. I'm getting about 5.88, 5.89 right now. We'll just stay there. Okay, so that's it. Your mix is done. Obviously, pour this mix back in here. Okay, now I take one additional step. And because of where I live, it's hot during the day, but it actually gets pretty cold at night. And it's cold enough to put my outdoor plant into nutrient lockdown. So this is actually my seedling starting tray, which I never use. But in here is a warming mat for seedlings, but I've temporarily repurposed it to gently warm my nutrient mix. So tomorrow morning, when I wake up to feed the plant, it will be about 50 degrees in the morning. The plant root zone gets very cold, so I'm going to feed it about 75, 78 degrees. So hopefully that should help the plant perk up a little bit earlier in the morning. This is very optional and very case dependent based on where you live. These seedling mats are actually really cheap. This is about $20. And it comes with a little temperature probe. I usually just kind of stick it right underneath. Just let it sit on it like that. Right, and then there's a controller up here, and you just plug it in and good to go. So it's really slow, so it's going to take all night to bring it up to keep it at a decent temperature. But that's it. Now in the end, you have some dirty things you got to clean, so that's why I use the clean water to rinse out your nutrient mix with nice clean water and to clean out your syringes. And really important. So I'm just going to show you here. So just take it, dump it out. This is a trash can right here, so give it a good 3 or 4 full plunges and squirts. And then when you're storing your food syringes, make sure and store them, keep it a bit open and store them up like this, not down. Because when they're down, the tips can touch the bottom of the cups and get dirty and throw off your readings later on, if you're being that scientific about your plants. So, but just make sure, clean them every single time, store them up. This keeps the seals in there good and prevents the tips from getting contaminated, okay? And with that, that's the end of the video. Thanks guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.